Who's first, me?
It's Mr. Rogers' turn, right?
My green light's on.
So did mine.
It's Mr. Rogers' turn.
Look, I think both of us have run an honorable campaign. I don't think either of us has attacked really unfairly, and I think you agree with that. I think we've had a healthy discussion, spirited, fun at times.
Very little times, no.
When I decided to take on this endeavor, I did it because I believe in the people of Western North Carolina, and I did it because I thought I had something to offer, to contribute towards solving some of the solutions. That's the type of person I am. That's the type of person I've always been. And that's the type of representative I want to be, should I get the opportunity to do that. Campaigns are tough. We've seen, and they get worse every year. The one thing that this audience could probably agree on is you probably had enough negative ads on television between the presidential races. I don't care who you're for. You get tired of these things. We become desensitized to them. But the truth is, it really prevents us from talking about the issues that matter to everybody and the true points. So I've tried to focus on that. I've tried to focus on the things that I believe are important to the folks of Western North Carolina, and frankly, the things that are important to all Americans. And I'd like to see more people do that.
As we look at this campaign, I think one of the things that you can look at, I know in our television advertising, we've not mentioned Hayden's name once. We haven't come after him. What we've done is tried to run an honorable campaign that talks about our plan and our vision for America. We've come with a plan to create jobs, a plan to reduce regulation, a plan to really eliminate the need for us to go on those safety net programs that we've all been talking about. A plan for us to be energy independent. That's been our message, and we felt like taking a clear message to the people in a positive way would be rewarded. Now the consultants will they'll tell him and they'll tell me that nobody loves negative ads, but they work. And the fact of the matter is we've tried to be honorable in the way that we've done that in a spirit of civility, as you were saying. But the other thing is that this is not a Democrat and Republican nation. This is a nation of American people. And it's time that we start acting like Americans. Because there's crosses on hillsides in Europe, and none of them say Republican or Democrat. What they do is they show that men and women have fought and died for the freedoms that we hold dear. And we see that over and over again. And so when 10 generations ago, when my grandfather got off the Mayflower, he wasn't a Democrat or Republican. He was here for religious liberties. And when he landed there at Plymouth, what he wanted was a better life for America. And that's what we need to do. As a Democrat and as a Republican, we need to make sure that we represent the people, and I'm committed to doing that.
Asheville, the largest city and the economic center of Western North Carolina, is no longer in the 11th Congressional District. How does this change affect your ability to convince Congress to approve federal funding for a much more rural district? Mr. Meadows?
Well, we've already been working with a number of members of Congress to try to make sure that they understand Western North Carolina, not with the assumption that we're going to be a member of Congress, but trying to be prepared and ready. It's been really the first time that we've seen people in leadership in my party all over Western North Carolina. We've had congressmen in Clay County, we've had them in Haywood County, we've had them in Buncombe County, we've had them in Henderson County, we've had them in McDowell County, and we've had them in Caldwell and Burke County, all over this district. And the reason why we've done that is so that when we look at this, we can say, these are the needs of Western North Carolina. You've been there, you've been on the ground, and what we have is we have hurting people, and we need to make sure that we do that. Now, in doing that, is that enough alone? No, you've got to build coalitions, and you've got to make sure that we've done that. We've reached out. Obviously, I've been in conversations with Congressman Patrick McHenry, who will be representing downtown Asheville if the voters so choose here in November. But I've also talked to other congressmen in South Carolina and Tennessee that borders it. They have some of the same rural concerns that we have. To build a coalition to say, how can we help Western North Carolina, the specific needs that we have here? And they, without any reservation, are willing not only to travel here, but to meet and greet the people on a regular basis. And we've done that, trying to be prepared to meet the rural needs that we have. You know, I live in Jackson County. I'm as close to home as I normally am on any given night. You know, I'm 20 minutes away from my house. But as we see that, one of the things is Jackson County is no different than Macon County in terms of the needs, in Clay County, Cherokee County, as we look at it. Each one of them has specific needs that are unique to that county, but we know that rural needs are important just as much as some in the urban areas.
Ms. Rocky.
I'm actually not being sarcastic this time. Run that question by me one more time.
No, that's cool. No problem. Asheville, the largest city and the economic center of Western North Carolina, is no longer in the 11th Congressional District. So how does this change affect your ability to convince Congress to approve federal funding for a much more rural district?
Regardless of which congressional district it is, Asheville's the largest city in the far west, and in some ways it is an economic hub. Many counties benefit, especially the surrounding counties, from their interactions there. The challenges that face our rural counties are no different than they were prior to Asheville being moved. We still have infrastructure needs, still have education needs, and we have to address those. Again, I didn't have to drive around to figure this out. Not only, and I applaud Mr. Meadows for bringing in congressmen to the district. I think that's a good thing to do for these guys to take it out of their busy schedules, come down here and learn more about Western North Carolina. There, I was being sarcastic. But the fact is, if you want a congressman who understands Western North Carolina, then vote for one that's from here. Vote for one that grew up. If you want to rural America, look for a guy in Robbinsville. About as rural as it gets. Now, you know, and I don't mean this mean-spirited, but it was a funny story. There's an older gentleman who lives here in Jackson County. I'm part of this community, my community at home. I'm active in it. I'm in the grocery stores. I'm doing things. You know.
Time. You can have it in the rebuttal.
You would have enjoyed that one, Russ.
You can have it in the rebuttal if you wish. Mr. Meadows.
Well, I mean, as we look at it, we talk about, you know, he says, well, gosh, you're not from here. I've been here 28 years. And no, if we want to have this whole election come down on whether I was born here or not, I think that that's a pretty sad commentary on looking at who needs to be your next congressman. You know, the next thing I know, he's going to be telling me that I'm some Frenchman, because I was actually born on a military base. My dad was in the Army in Verdun, France. And so, you know, when we start to look at this, if the debate gets down to the fact that I'm not from here and he is, then obviously he wins. But really, the debate ought to be about who has the best plan to create jobs and get Western North Carolina going again. I'm the only one that's put forth a plan. I mean, they've been very critical of my plan, but we've yet to see a plan from Hayden Rogers in terms of what he plans to do. We've got a 4-point plan that'll put 10 million people back to work, and it's time that we do that.
Back to my story. I'm not being critical of Mr. Meadows for moving to Western North Carolina. If I wasn't from here, I'd be making arrangements to get here myself. It's a great place to live. Good people, hard-working people, great communities. Those of you that are involved in them, you know that. What I am being critical of, in all due fairness, Mark, is when people come here, we welcome them. We welcome them into our communities. Now, most of them choose to participate in that. And back to that old man who told me this. He said, you know, I've grown up here my whole life. Now, this man on Social Security, Jackson County, he just lived 20 minutes from me.